The room was cozy, dark. The only source of light was of the TV. Vine sat there on the sofa, curled against Jungkook's side, his arm around her shoulder. Jungkook had always been an observant man. He noticed so many things were wrong tonight. The way she tucked herself a little tighter against him tonight, her fingers gripping his shirt just a bit more than usual. She would fight him usually to sit and watch her favorite anime with her, but tonight her eyes were dead. She was not focused on the TV at all. Most wouldn't notice by the way she would put on a smile, randomly move and comment on a scene or two whenever she remembered. But he clearly took a note of everything. Zeke, did something happen today? His voice was gentle as he asked. Why? Nothing. Why do you ask? Ah, was he too focused? I forgot to comment. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. That was the problem. She wasn't focused at all. Zeke, don't hide things from me, love. She leaned in, pressing her lips against his softly, almost as if she was trying to steal his strength for herself. It worked. His arms tightened around her, pulling her closer into her lap with a satisfied hum. Ryan, I'll tell you. Just hold me. So he did. At the end of the day, Ryan asked him to give her a little time, and as much as he worried he was, he respected her choice and let her take her time. The next morning, Jungkook was reviewing reports in his office when his phone rang. Yes. So, there's an issue at home. Madam, something's wrong. The air in his lungs turned sharp. His driver took exactly 4 minutes to reach their penthouse. He took exactly 20 seconds to get inside, and then Vine was on the floor near the kitchen counter, hands trembling violently as she clutched her throat. Her eyes, terrified and lost, met his, but no sound left her lips. She was gasping, panicked, her lips parting in silent scream. Jungkook dropped to his knees, heart pounding. Jake, hey, hey, look at me. What happened? Tears welled in her eyes, frustration tightening her face as she tried to speak. Nothing, not a whisper. Rage and helplessness whirred inside him. How could he go to office when he knew something was wrong with her? Why did he not force it out of her? Why was he so careless? The sudden guilt, regret, and anger at himself started to boil inside of him. He cupped her face, his thumbs stroking over her damp cheeks. Take it. You're safe. I'm here. Breathe. Baby, breathe. His voice was steady, but his hands, the ones that held guns, trembled against her skin. She clutched to him, her entire body wrecked with tremors. Jungkook stayed there, held her tightly, and kept whispering sweet nothings in her ear for as long as she needed. It Took a few hours. Jungkook wanted to call a doctor, but Ryan rejected. Luckily, her voice came back soon after she calmed down. Not as she laid there, curled in her sheets, in a cozy room with a fireplace. Jungkook sat beside the bed, hand caressing her hair as she slept, looking as calm as ever. Today had an effect on him like nothing before. It scared him to see her in that condition, and he swore he was going to kill the reason behind it. A reason which Vine told him before sleeping. She had met Mina, Jungkook's own secretary. Mina threatened her to stay away from Jungkook. Then she pulled her past in front of her with some proofs which stole the air from Vine's lungs. A past, a sinful time, a murder. That night when someone tried to rape her, when she panicked and hit the man with the vase in self defense, but it ended up actually killing him. It was a time Jungkook took care of hiding away every possibility of its existence. Vine was no mafia. She was a common person with a kind soul, got blood on her hands. She couldn't handle it. It gave her such a hard time to move over it. But Mina brought it all back. She tried to blackmail Vine using her trauma. Mina was able to manipulate Vine because Vine was weak here, making her believe that her sin will be revealed before the world and Jungkook can suffer because of her. The trauma was already too much for her. Then this guilt hit so violently that she even lost her voice. Jungkook visited Mina, who was happily drinking while enjoying a cozy evening in her apartment. It was the last time she could have such peace. Jungkook didn't forgive her. He dug his knife in her arm, earning a terrific scream out of her. He made her beg for forgiveness. Then he continued to plunge his knife in several parts of her body, the floor getting filled with the blood of its owner. Mina was crying, screaming, and begging for mercy, for forgiveness, but Jungkook was too gone to listen. He continued his assault until she lost her voice from all the screaming. That was it. Tit for tat. Once she finally lost her voice, Jungkook mocked her and then discarded her like some trash until her body was nothing but a corpse. And now it was all over. He was back in his bed, his wife in his arms. She was still having an issue to overcome, her past, which was forcefully reminded of. But there was no hurry. Jungkook was going to take all the time in this world to heal her. Ryan, you took care of her, didn't you? She asked in a whisper, feeling much better in the warmth of her husband's arms. A nail paintbrush was in her hand as she applied it on her nails. It's okay, I did. Nothing is going to hurt you anymore. Ryan didn't want to know the details. She knew the man she married. She was prepared for this. Ryan, then, how does it look? Zeke, how much for the hands, madam? Ryan laughed, putting away the polished bottle and snuggled in his arms again. It has been a few days already. All the time and effort Jungkook put in healing her was clearly showing the results. Ryan, ain't yours? She showed him her tongue, clearly teasing him. Jungkook smirked, took her hand and pinned it behind her back, moving closer to her face. Seike, it's clearly mine, princess. All of you. Every part of you is mine. He then brought her hand to his lips and kissed her while looking deep in her eyes with such intensity that made her legs shake and her heart dance against her ribcage. This was it she needed: the warmth, the intensity, her husband, and this cozy room.